Hello! So this weekend I got to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 twice, once with my significant other and the other time with my brother and his friend, and I will say it is pretty good. It is very entertaining. It probably isn't the best film in the Marvel canon thus far. It's not better than the first film. I feel it is weaker, but I like it more. It's way more comedic. It's a way more funnier film. That's what it is. Interestingly funny. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is still a great film. I think I like it better than the first, but the first one is probably the more better film in overall quality and being objective here. But I think Marvel really let James Gunn go crazy with this in terms of humor. It's way more comical, a little bit more raunchier. Not a whole lot, but just in terms of dialogue, it is. I do like this series of films, and I do like the sequel quite a bit. It expands upon the characters, it expands upon like the lore and this sort of outer galaxy thing, and it's very entertaining. I like it a lot. In terms of it being comedic, it definitely is. James Gunn is the sole writer here. He also directed the film, and it's very gunny in a sense. If you've seen any other film that he's worked on, he's a bit of a goofball, but he's a smart one. He's a smart goofball. That's the thing. So. In terms of characters, Gamora and Nebula get way more development, and Yondu, a lot of the secondary characters do get a lot of development, and interesting development too. Gamora and Nebula sort of progress in their relationship, sort of like these sisters made to fight each other, and just like, hey, we're in this together, and but I'll leave you to your own devices at the end, and it's very interesting, very different. It's worth exploring on film, I feel. So there's that. Yondu, this film made me really like Michael Rooker's Yondu in the same way that Captain America Civil War made me really like Iron Man and Vision. He's given a lot of development. We figure out his backstory, and it's pretty interesting as well. It definitely comes to like a conclusion at the film, if you know. Just an interesting little thing. I really do like the character. I like Michael Rooker, sort of like this Texan boy. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Yeah, you own that. That's my favorite line from the movie, by the way. You Mary Poppins. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. You own that. You are Mary Poppins. I'm gonna start using that. Just like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. So, Rocket. Oh man, it's interesting. Rocket teams up with Yondu for a significant chunk of the film. He also gets some development. Rocket doesn't get as much development as Yondu or any other character, but we do at the end. There is some progression, and I think leading into Avengers 3 and Guardians 3, we'll see some more from the space raccoon, and Drax a bit. He does a little bit, but he's there for laughs. He doesn't really. It bothers me a bit that he doesn't really have a big moment in the film. That's his. It's pretty much the beginning where he's eaten by the monster, but even then Gamora frees him, ends up killing the beast. So there's not really a big moment with Drax, other than protecting Mantis when he's carrying her through to Yondu's ship, and he's like, I must save you, Mantis. It's more, he does have good emotional moments, but not a crowning moment of awesome as moments in the first film. So this film really does have a lot of development with the side characters, and the villains are great. Obviously in the trailers you saw Aisha and the Sovereign. They're this unified perfect race of aliens, and they're pretty fun. And yes, the comedy does extend with them. So, yep, and they're fun characters. The Ravagers betray Yondu, and we get this guy called Taserface, and he's fun. I don't know if he does shoot tasers out of his face, but if Marvel would let James Gunn do it, he would. Make a taser, shoot him, Taserface, tasers out of his face. The special effects. This film is wonderfully designed, wonderfully realized, very comic booky. Again, it's not the same science fiction flavor as Star Wars, strictly, but it is very cool. It's very good. I like it a lot. I hope you like it too. There were some moments where the special effects seemed kind of hokey or didn't feel fleshed out. That there's this one moment where Michael Rooker and Chris Pratt are flying from a exploding planet, and just the green screen effect could have been better. I think it just felt so weird upon a second viewing. So that was weird. There was also a scene in like Ant-Man where you can see shoot, what is the actor's name? I forget the actor's name. Let me just Ant-Man's eyes, Scott Lang's eyes on that shot when he first turned into Giant Man in Captain America Civil War. And that was kind of like a weird effect when you saw his eyes like, oh. So there are a lot of gags. A lot of the serious characters do get jokes. There are way more setups for jokes. It's way more comical, like I said. There's a little action, but that's forgivable because there's stuff going on, entertaining. You're being entertained, maybe by a philosophical idea like this, like the character of Ego being this millennia old, millions upon millions of year old planet, sentient planet that and sort of like his, and it's fascinating. And obviously, Drax gets some good lines. Good lines, Stewie, Brian. And it works wonderfully. How would your dad make a baby with your mom? He would smush her. Does he have a penis? Everyone was thinking that in the theater. Everyone. So, and and I was entertained. Going back and looking at the film, there is like a moment where you do have like a long moment without really any action, and like from like when the Ravagers meet up with Rocket, and pretty much Gamora and Nebula reenact North by Northwest, and yep. If you don't love me now, the songs and the orchestra audio quality is great. I really do enjoy the song choices. I have a couple of new favorites now, thank you. The only song I knew before going into it was ELO's Mr. Blue Sky, and that plays during the opening credits, which is fun. The Stan Lee cameo was silly. If memory serves me well, he's like talking about the multiple Stan Lees in this MCU, and he's an astronaut stranded on with the Watchers from not Final Fantasy, like Fantastic Four lore, and it's really it's funny. I'm just glad I got to see like a vintage classic Marvel character. It's just like this group of Watchers, like big heads, the cloaks, maybe a tunic. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting to see them, because maybe Fox owns the rights to maybe Uatu the Watcher, but he is I don't know what the rights are, but yeah, but he appeared first in the Galactus in a comic issue of Fantastic Four, sort of like proclaiming the coming of Galactus, excuse me. And yeah, the new character Mantis, played by Palm is a fun character. She's fun, an empath, sort of like sensing the feelings of others, and she's super cool. And she doesn't really do much, but hopefully that changes. She seems awesome. There's a lot to say with her and Drax, sort of like interacting, these two individuals who aren't really socially apt, as it were, excuse me. Drax being sort of like this guy who doesn't really know boundaries or like what's appropriate, and Mantis, who doesn't really have any of that, or maybe the same version of that in a different way. And it's really nice to see them bounce off of each other. I do want to talk about tone inconsistency. The problem with I think that's going to be a problem with what a lot of critics have with this tone inconsistency in Guardians Volume 2. I understand comic relief is a thing. Like Scarface has comic relief. Like all these great movies have comic relief. But I wonder if that's going to be a problem looking back on it, because like there's this moment on Ego's planet when he's when Chris Pratt is talking to Kurt Russell, and like he goes through this thing, like Chris Pratt asks, shoot, Kurt Russell, Ego, the living planet man, why did he leave his mom to die on Earth? And there's this powerful exchange, like Chris Pratt says, I watched my mother die, calling back to the first film, beginning of the first film, and then it just goes to like them playing catch with an energy ball. It's a long story, and jeez Louise, like that feels like I was laughing in the theater like everyone else when they were playing catch, like ha, ha, daddy. But so that was, don't take that out of context. And then it cuts to like Drax and Mantis talking in another area on Ego, and they're just sitting looking at some pawns, and like Drax is like, oh hey, I used to take my daughter to like this thing on my planet, a similar thing on his planet, and there's some jokes obviously between Mantis and Drax. Excuse me, I'm scratching my face. There are jokes between Drax and Mantis, but there's like emotion, like I don't know. It feels like a very James Gunny idea. I imagine that happens in Super and maybe like Slither and other projects of his. Maybe he did write Scooby-Doo too, so I can only say that life is like that sometimes. Sometimes you do something, the tone's all over the place with life, even in a specific moment. Just like our different personalities, our different personalities and our different sort of circumstances that appear in our lives are going to create some weird uncomfortable moments. So it's like that. As far as post-credit scenes, there's 5. Most of them are jokes, but they're funny. So hey, the only real, besides the Stan Lee one, revisiting Stan Lee, and that's okay. The Adam Warlock continuity. The Sovereign. Adam Warlock is apparently going to be part of the MCU. He's a great character. If you want to read Jim Sterling's run on Warlock, I read that as part of a superhero class a few years ago, and it was pretty good. That's like an early appearance for Gamora and Thanos. Maybe Drax, if I remember correctly. Talking about the Sovereign and Aisha again, it's this very prestigious, very perfect race. Like, every individual is constructed to be perfect. Sort of alien society idea. And it really goes back to like the abject with the whole thing, like Ego's big plan. Spoiler is that he wants to sort of like purify different planets that he has left spawned to millions and millions of years, and obviously he's very godlike. He says he's immortal. He's lived a long ass time. My phone is ringing. Just like this idea of like we're not godlike and we should embrace that that this meat sack is all we got, and there's no shame in that, and like this moment, it gets like before the third act of the film, it gets dark. Like apparently like the reason why Chris Pratt's character is even a thing is because Ego, who is his biological dad, has been like making mini baby mamas and babies with different alien races throughout the planet. throughout the universe, and apparently Yondu has been delivering some of them within Michael Rooker's lifetime, and like it gets dark. Like Gamora and Nebula find like this mass grave filled with like dead alien children's skulls, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't help the tone and inconsistency at all. And but it does treat it like it's this really scary and disgusting and disturbing, really intense thing to do. So I guess, but it's that tone inconsistency, man. And I think that's forgivable if the movie's good. I think a lot of things are forgiven when a movie is, when a movie maybe like doesn't really do anything that you like, doesn't stay true to like an adaptation, maybe has a few hokey moments. I think you can forgive those things a little bit. Still acknowledge that they're there, but you can forgive those things as long as you feel the movie's makes up it for strengths in other ways. And obviously, I just like to think of the plot holes with like Ego and his planet. Like if he wanted to kill Chris Pratt and everyone on the planet, like they convert. Everyone in the main cast pretty much converges on Ego's planet, and couldn't he just like kill everybody with like like getting rid of the oxygen or any vegetation or something? Like it's proven that people can die in the vacuum of space in this universe, so I think that wouldn't be hard. I don't know how planet evolution works, but like there's like a million ways. Like I guess the process takes time. So anywho, just like our planet, creationists. I'm just kidding. And also the plant, apparently, like he grows like all these while like getting busy with the various alien races. He plants plants on these planets, and that's when like that's how he's gonna conquer the universe. That's sort of like his proxy for sort of absorbing the planet. And like there's one behind a Dairy Queen in Missouri in the beginning, apparently in like 1980, and we cut to like 34 years later, and no one has thought to like no one has seen like, oh hey, this is this weird plant, should I study it, should I tell somebody about it? It's like weird, but apparently it's been untouched for 34 years on Earth. Is it indestructible? Can you destroy it before it turns into silly putty? I mean, I don't know. Again, it goes back to sort of like if the movie's good, it's not really these like plot beats and tone inconsistency. It's not really a big deal, but you can still acknowledge those things are there and still talk about them and still like criticize them, but don't let it ruin your movie. And also, if you're wondering, Howard the Duck is in there at a scene in the beginning, near the beginning. He's on a date, which is good, not with Beverly, but on a planet where we first meet Yondu in the movie. They updated the design for him since the end of Guardians 1, where he has like looks a little bit more cartoony, sort of like older, like, hey, you out of luck once you got in duck, and excuse me, and I hope to see more of him. I really, like I said, I do enjoy the character, and even the movie to a little extent. So I hope they use more of him. I hope he's in Avengers. But anywho, and Sylvester Stallone apparently was in this film. He played like this other Ravager leader, and he was fine. He was pretty much playing Sylvester Stallone. He's super cool, but yeah. So he was pretty much playing Sylvester Stallone. And apparently, since David Hasselhoff and Knight Rider exist in this universe, obviously through Chris Pratt's character, if Chris Pratt saw the Sly Stallone character, wouldn't he think of like Rambo or Rocky, First Blood? I mean, that doesn't make sense, but anywho. So anyway, I enjoy the film. Go see it if you care. Bring your kids. I don't know. There's some cuss words. Marvel and whoever's in charge of their toys, they're not putting out kids' toys for Guardians 2 like with the first one. So if that says something, there you go. But I do recommend the film, and I do like the film. Is it in my top 5 of the MCU? Maybe. Maybe, but I don't know. But anywho, go see the film. Those are my thoughts on Guardians of the Volume Galaxy 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you've seen it, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll chat about it. I just want to see if you did see it. If you did see it. If you like this video, feel free to give a comment. Subscribe if you want to. This is a new thing, obviously, I'm trying out. Talking about recent films and just chatting. I don't have a script. I just have notes because I suck at chatting on camera and making coherent sentences. It's hard. It's hard. Oh, I want you. You're a baby. So, anywho, I am Maximum Austin, and until next time, keep being confident, and you enjoy your day. See ya.